Welcome to Smell It Sunday, everybody. I had a little bit of trouble starting the stream, but that's nothing out of the norm. You'll see we're in a different location today. We're moving about, and if you read the headline of this video, it says something to the effect of searching for inspiration, the constant search for inspiration. That's exactly what I'm doing. I told you that I'm getting a little bit, tired of sitting down on a table talking about candles, evaluating candles, and because there's so many beautiful places in the world, I'm going to start filming more of my candle evaluations outdoors. So today's a beautiful day in upstate New York, and I figured, you know what a perfect opportunity to take you guys along to see some pretty locations. Now, we are moving, and cellular service will cut in and out, so please be patient with me. If, a couple of seconds I black out for a second, not black out like I've been drinking, but black out as in my stream goes out. And just because I really truly didn't introduce the live, I don't think. Welcome everybody to Smell It Sunday on my secondary channel, Aromatically Speaking. And if you're not subscribed, if you're new to this channel and you're like, who is this crazy weirdo? My name is Shane Carlson, and some people call me the Candle Enthusiast. At least that's my main channel, the Candle Enthusiast. But it's not just about candles. It's about the celebration of aromatics. It's about literally stopping to smell the roses every single day to truly understand why and how aromatics enhance our daily lives and how some of us, most of us, maybe all of us, even myself, how we can take it for granted. So being outside, there's a plethora of things to experience as far as aromatics, and I figured I'd do a little show and tell today, talk about how I go about trying to keep things fresh and how I get my creative juices working. I never used to be an outdoor person, if you can believe that. And hello, everybody joining in. I will be stopping the vehicle shortly so that I can actually address you. And I know a lot of times I say that, and it never ends up happening, but I really want to make sure that I am answering some of your questions, if any of you guys have concerns. Since my last video where I talked about where I stand personally with candles, I kind of shared, opened my heart a bit about how I needed to take a break from candle burning and producing videos on candles. It was nothing against candles, and it was nothing against my passion, but I think sometimes we need a little bit of a break of things, projects that we're working on. I think this way we can, leave, come back, and look at it with fresh eyes, reevaluate the situation, and make the necessary changes. And I think most of this happened during September and October. I just had time to focus on where I wanted to bring, not necessarily this channel. This channel is always going to be fun. It's just going to be us hanging out, doing spontaneous lives. We always got our Smell It Sunday, where we can just get together, open up products that I get in the mail, talk about funny activities. If you guys have any stories to share, that's actually a good idea. I can't believe I'm actually really just thinking about this. How about you guys send me like handwritten or typed out stories that nothing expensive. The cost is the price of a piece of paper, an envelope, and a stamp. You send it my way, and then I can share some of your nostalgic stories, your aromatic stories, your holiday memories. And this way I'm not always just talking about myself. This looks like a fantastic place. Look at the colors in the background. Who do we have in the chat room here? I'm going to leave the car running, but I'm going to turn the air off. And the lighting is not the greatest on me, but that's okay. I got stuff to share, and then we're going to go out into this region here. Jody is saying hello. How we doing? If you guys want to see, I lost you guys for a second. If you guys want to see a Yankee Candle that I did not have a chance to talk about during my live Yankee Candle at the Yankee Candle Village, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Don't say yes or no. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, that thumbs up will let me know. Also, what else did I purchase at the Yankee Candle Village? I don't have all of it, but I'll share with you if you want to see. And Nicole says, I'm sure Eric would come up with a good story for Shane to read. I may have to, I won't lie. When it comes to Eric, I may need to pre-read any written word that he sends my way before sharing it with you guys. We love Eric, but he has a tendency to ride the line of obscenities, and there's a guy flying. He's legitimately flying a radio-controlled airplane. I'm at another baseball field. I was at a baseball field not too long ago, but I'm at yet another one, and he put it away. Otherwise, I try to get a screenshot of it. But this guy's like, man, he's like dressed up for the occasion. He's got like some serious shoes and raincoat. Not raincoat, but like pea coat and sunglasses. I've never seen a guy look so cool flying a radio-controlled airplane. And he's got a really nice BMW too. Anyway, hit that thumbs up button. But there was one candle that I did not talk about, and a lot of people have been asking me, why didn't you talk about it? And it's probably, people have the most questions about it. Arguably, it's the most outrageous out of all of the brand new 2018 Yankee Candle Christmas fragrances. But this was literally the last one they had. I had to talk to the manager, and that candle, no joke, you have to smell this candle, whether you've been hearing good things about it, bad things about it, it doesn't matter. Moana just fell. You have to check out this fragrance right here. Can you see that? Winter Wonder. Yeah, so there was a promotional, what was it? Like you bought so much, and then you got a candle. Winter Wonder, not to be confused with Winter Wonderland. This is available in the UK this year. This is available in the US. And I've heard a lot of folks say this is still readily available in retail stores. So although this was the very last one at the Yankee Candle Village, so this is one that every time you're going to approach it cold, something else is going to jump at you first. This is literally one of the most complex candles that I've seen from Yankee Candle for a very long time. And not in a glorious way, not in a bad way, but not in a glorious way. It is as if someone took several candles that kind of work together, but mix them all together. And then when you stick your nose in here, you get lost in this force of aromatics. The first thing that's coming to me now is I think you'll notice, is anyone smell this candle? A huge mint. A mint, candy mint, not menthol. This is like, not like Altoids mint, like takes your breath away kind of strong mint. This is a candied, sweet mint. And definitely not like a fresh picked mint leaf, like an herbaceous mint. But there is a mintiness here, without question. And now that I'm smelling it, this might be accompanied with a little bit of lime and eucalyptus to enhance that. I honestly can't even remember what I said on my real evaluation, which is coming, by the way, guys. It is coming. My evaluation of all 8 fragrances for 2018. But to keep it simple, this is what's remarkable. Remarkable may be an exaggeration. Angel's Wings has been retired. They retired it 2016. As far as I know, was the last time it was ever poured. Last year, 2017, it was on the shelves at certain locations, but it was still a 2016 pour. So if you know Angel's Wings, you know how much I love Angel's Wings. Angel's Wings is my Mary Tyler Moore candle. If that's confusing to some of you, I understand, but for some of you who know a little bit about me, that'll make perfect sense. If you find it, get it. And I can't stress this enough. The U.S. label, the thin label, it's got a really nice high contrast on it, so it looks pretty, so it's beautiful to own. But if you can find the full UK European label, it's definitely the way to go too, because it's one of those labels that when cropped, you have no idea what you're looking at. But anyway, this candle is remarkably similar to Angel's Wings, only there's a whole lot more going on. It's as if we poured Angel's Wings and then poured a whole bunch of other fun Christmassy kind of stuff in there, and then we mixed the wax together. This is not a low intensity. I would certainly put this at a medium plus intensity candle, and I can't say because I haven't burned it, but my prediction, excuse me, my prediction would be if when we burn this candle, you're going to get pretty much the same, a medium, let's say a safe medium carry on this candle. It'll fill a pretty big room. It's not going to blow down your house. But Winter Wonder, it's available on the website. It's available in the UK. It's available in the US. You might have to visit a few stores to find it. I have really high resolution, up close, micro shots of these labels. But I'm going to take a high road here. And excuse me, I didn't shave this morning. I apologize. I look like a homeless man. I look like John Rambo because I'm wearing this army coat, which is going to be my coat for the whole winter season, I think. I'm really okay with these thin labels. I really am, and I'm not just saying this. Because these photographs are now being taken for this aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is the dimensions of a photograph. It works. We get the whole composition. Nothing is cropped. But you're going to say, okay, but in the UK, it's bigger. It's bigger, but it's also cropped. Okay? A good example is if you look at the Enchanted Moon US label, if you look at anything from this year, but if you just take a quick look at the US or like the Blue Twilight Storm US label versus the UK label, they're both cropped in different ways. Sometimes most of the times in the European labels, you're losing the top and the bottom, and they're just making the label bigger. So essentially, they're taking a little portion of the picture here and blowing it up. So I am okay with these labels. Do I wish they were bigger? Of course, I would not be opposed to seeing them become bigger again. But we have to move forward, and we have to accept that, guys. It's been over 2.5 years since they've made this change with the label sizes, and we're still talking about it. I understand some people's frustration. Hey, I wish they'd bring black bands back. Okay, so bands. But what else did I buy? Turn the AC on a little bit, and then we're gonna go for a walk, folks. But I got my annual Yankee Candle Village exclusive bear. It's just tradition, folks. How could I say no? Look at the feet. I literally went through about 30 to 45, actually closer to 45 bears before I picked out this one. And the thing is, you think I'd be looking for like imperfections? I am, but what happens is, and I understand. I'm legitimately in my mid-30s. I'm a male, and I understand it might be weird for some of you guys to fully understand why a fully grown man needs a teddy bear. But you know what? Don't ruin my day. Teddy bears, teddy bears make me happy. You know what? That's the case. If you want to judge me, go ahead and judge. But I have every year they make an exclusive bear, and what's great is like every year he's always wearing like trending clothing. Now this year it's kind of simple. He's wearing a scarf and his hat, and he's got a hole for his ears, but I love it because when I go outside, this is what I do in the winter. I wear my scarf, I wear my hat. I love his feet this year around. Yankee Candle's usually on his foot, but this year we have it right there on his hat. So I could probably, if I want to, take this off and put this on Elsa. So Elsa could have her own exclusive Yankee Candle bear. And guess how much this is, guys? This is what I love about Yankee Candle Village. They really do. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they help you save as much money as possible. Probably because everybody walks out the door with hundreds of dollars of stuff. But this was $12.99, and you didn't need to purchase anything else. This is every year. This is like $12. Now, some years it has a little bit more heft, like they put beans in its butt, so it like sits on the shelf better. This year it's really light and fluffy, but it's so soft. So I had to get my annual bear. I have some of these bears. They used to be made by Gund, I believe, Gund, back in the early 2000s. I'm not sure who makes them now, but they are branded by Yankee Candle. This plush toy was made with all new materials and is surface washable. Remove all attachments from the toy before giving it to your child. Attachments? What attachments are, like, before giving this to a child, I have to take off his hat. I don't want to take off his hat and scarf. Like an inmate, you might have to, because they, like no shoelaces kind of thing, but, all right. But anyway, so that's what I got at the Yankee Candle Village. And usually I save cards for, oh, look at that. Look at that. There's sparkles, and it kind of looks like a tombstone, does it not? It kind of looks like a tombstone. It kind of looks like, I don't know, the font kind of looks like Beetlejuice, but it also looks like a stained glass window, too. We have a witch hat and a broom. Happy Halloween. Again, my dear friend Nancy, we all know Nancy, happy. So hopefully it's okay that I'm sharing this, but she always sends me beautiful cards, and I don't think she'd mind me sharing this. Happy, and she even put Halloween 2018. It's funny because she's starting to know me. I would do that myself because I file all of these things so I can flip through them, and I want to remember who they came from and when it was from. Shane, brew up some mischief and have a wicked good time. Brew up some mischief and have a wicked good time. And this is from Nancy. Have lots of treats, lots of fun, and take Elsa trick-or-treating. It's perfectly acceptable. Love, Nancy. Nancy, thank you so much for the Hallmark card.
How about now? Yes. All right. Whew. Well, I will be editing that section out in a little bit. So for those of you who couldn't see, let me sum that up. I really apologize. We have a main road that goes over here, and they just built this tunnel. I was talking about there was a rail trail that will take you to the mid-Hudson, I keep saying the mid-Hudson Bridge, but the Hudson River. If you type in walkway over the Hudson and the Hudson Valley, it's a huge attraction now. They just redid this, not just, it's been like 5-10 years. They redid this old railroad track that burned down decades ago, and now you can just walk over it. They had plans to build a mall up there. They had all these plans, essentially to make like a boardwalk. They ended up making a walking path. But what they've done is, because it was so successful, is they've connected that rail trail with a rail trail that did not exist. They had to build this for several miles and connect it with a rail trail that spreads down more towards New Paltz. It travels through New Paltz, New York, into Wallkill, New York, and eventually kind of actually into Kingston, New York. So although I experienced plenty of that rail trail, that's actually where I filmed my silver birch review, was down in that direction. I have yet to explore down in these parts. And so let's get to the headline of this video. Yes, so someone who's saying thrift store stories, saying I love to bike here. There are bikers, there are runners, there are walkers, and people bring their pets, their dogs. I should certainly bring Elsa here. We do have, most of this rail trail is going to be asphalt. There are areas where it gets a little bit more rocky and dirty, but it's crazy. You know, this, I really do feel like they've, if you think about the history, how old freight trains used to travel from New York City and travel up through this path, right? I mean, they call it a rail trail, and they're not just joking around. Railroad trains would travel up from New York City, picking up and delivering goods from all different areas. And there was a hot spot. We all know Tarrytown, right? Tarrytown was a huge market town. So the trains, that would be on the other side of the Hudson, but trains would stop off, and I'm sure they would pick up tons of apples and pumpkins and all that goodness this time of year. And this area was kind of similar. A lot of, because this is apple country, a long time before that, this would have been it would have been wine country, if you can believe that. I don't know if it was necessarily, if they were making all wine, but there were plenty of vineyards before. That's funny, right? The Hudson Valley grew grapes before they grew apples. I always thought that was weird growing up, seeing names of grapes as like street names instead of like Macintosh. But we are definitely in autumn phase 2. Can I zoom in a little bit? Look at that. So when sorry, that was an extreme close-up of my face. When I'm looking for inspiration, when I'm looking to get away, if you can relate to this, please chime in, but whether you're a writer or a painter, any kind of artist, and you're going through a period of writer's block, you just can't, those creative juices are just not flowing. I learned, I guess the hard way, the best thing to do is to not sit on a chair or a couch. Definitely do not lie in bed, racking your brain with a notebook in your hand, trying to figure out, okay, what is the next artistic endeavor? The best thing that I find, the most therapeutic way to get the creativity flowing. There's a little bit of water here. Can I make it? I don't know if you can see it, but this is pretty deep waters. But my point was, you gotta get out into the wilderness. I gotta make a big jump. It doesn't look big. Let me get you guys in close here. It doesn't look big, but I need to jump from here to there and not fall backwards, because this right here is very steep. Are you with me? Are you willing to take this risk with me? Why don't I just climb this? Because I'd fall. That I can make up. Let's take a jump. And then we'll find a nice spot to do some creative thinking. Oh God. I'm totally gonna fall in the water. I don't know if running and jumping is the best way to go. I did. There's just nothing to hold on to, you know? And when you're on these rail trails, I don't think they want you to go like off course like this. It's not the safest thing in the world. Is that tree gonna hold my weight? All right. There's definitely some twigs and branches. Okay. This is so much more steep than it looks, guys, and I'm not wearing the correct boots for this kind of rock climbing today. But we're almost there. We're almost there. How am I gonna get down? That's actually my biggest concern right now. Oh God. Okay. Yes. Yes. Woo. That's what it looks like to see an out of shape man climb a very steep hill, and the ground is wet. My butt is wet. But this is really interesting from up here, because I kind of feel like I'm eavesdropping. I can see like the backyards of some folks' houses. Is that a stagecoach? I thought it was a stagecoach, but just a covered tent. Whew. I am out of breath. But to get back to my point, yeah, so come out to the wilderness, find a nice quiet spot. Got some people walking by here who definitely, this guy was giving me weird looks, saying, what is that guy doing up there? Which is very rare for this portion of the country. So how you guys doing? You relaxing? Is anybody else hiking up the hill? Look at this. Whoa, stuff to smell. Forest floor, baby. Look at this. Look at this. That is as green as you're gonna get. I hate to pick it. Look at the water. It's like a natural sponge. I gotta see what this smells like. Oh. telling you, folks. If anyone thinks this is gross, smelling the wilderness, you don't know what you're missing. Oh, look at this. This is good. This is great. So one more look at the moss. But I gotta show you something. It's really special. I discovered something. Now there's somebody's house is right there. So I don't want to make too much noise. Tell me this doesn't look like, especially with the lighting, Jack Skellington on the morning after Halloween, him stumbling through the forest and finding the gateway to Christmas Town. It totally does. But what I want to show you is this. You see this rock wall here? Well, I can almost promise you this wasn't built within the last 100 years. This area of the country in New York, and I'm sure many other places in the world, this fence runs down and down and down. And it's actually in pretty good shape. These fences were property division lines way back when. Think about having to build these stone walls when you could easily just build a fence. But yeah, I mean, you can tell. I mean, first of all, you have to appreciate the craftsmanship and the structure, because I'm sure the tools were quite limited. And the fact that they've lasted all of these years, this wall goes on forever. And notice how there's a drop off. I wonder if there's a reason for that. Look at that. But I am... Wait, there's an old house over there. Do you see that old house? That is an oldie. Again, there's no access roads here. There would be an access road, of course, that's the back side of that house. But this rail trail that I came up from is brand new. So there would be no access road to this very old looking house. I do not see a driveway that is anywhere, but there must be, because I see some horses. How do people get to that house? It's a stable. We're getting there. Now, if we get some people yelling at us, we're just gonna bombard them with kindness and say we're just taking some photographs. Does that sound like a plan? And I couldn't possibly be making any more noise. I see chickens. I see a goat. I see a pony. I see a horse. I have no idea. The people who live here how they get to this house. There's no roads. That's a pony, right? Or a baby horse, at least. I don't even know if there's a difference. Over here, we definitely have a goat and it's a chicken. Where's my finger? Chicken right there. And there's another little horse right there. But this barn or stable is definitely seen better days. Could use a coat of paint. And then that looks like the farmhouse. I don't see any vehicles, but I did see some clothes hanging up to dry. And Rachel just said, did I just see someone in the window? And I'm not gonna kid. I don't freak out easily, but that just gave me the chills a little bit. So yeah, one more time, down this hill is a brand new rail trail that hasn't been paved or accessible for so many years. No, there's a stone wall that cuts across for acres down in this direction. I don't see how the people in this house get here unless they're like truly off the grid, which is completely possible. They do have clothes out hanging on a clothesline, so there is no signs of electricity. But to respect their privacy, I should probably keep moving. And I just inhaled something that I'm definitely allergic to. This looks like some form of old chimney. I'd smell it, but I don't want to get the lockjaw today. This is a really great vantage point from up here, because I know all of these things across the rail trail. Like there's a church or some form of old chapel. I know where that is, but I've never seen the backside of it. But since I'm on the rail trail, I can see it. Look how steep it's become. I gotta get down there. How's that gonna happen? And what makes it worse is it's covered in water. So let's have a seat. We're almost at an hour, but let's have a seat and let's talk about stuff. You guys have any questions for me? Anything that you want to share? Or if you just want to hear the sounds of the wilderness, we could do that too. Who's still with us? Homeless tent city. Well, I don't see any tents. And Eric is saying, I can't wait till Shane wanders into some cult commune. Well, here's the thing. I have no problem. I will not trespass, but I have no problem doing what I'm doing now, as long as there's no signs that say posted or no trespassing. Signs like you will be shot or prosecuted. For whatever reason, I'm not just saying that it's in New York, but you guys know my other stomping ground is California. Out in the vineyards, you don't see signs like that. You're not allowed to walk around the vineyards, but you know, there isn't such a threat if you get caught, where in these areas there's posted signs everywhere, and with like, you know, fines of like $250,000 if you get caught, if you don't get shot in the process. So I have no problem exploring, but that is the reason why I don't do abandoned videos. A lot of people ask me, why don't I do abandoned videos? I go into old houses, schools, shopping malls, businesses, storefronts that are closed down. I know they're very popular on YouTube, but and I don't judge anybody who watches them, but come on, guys, they're totally breaking the law, and they're putting the owners of those places in a huge potentially financial bad financial situation. I was once, when I was younger, I was in this old house in the woods, much higher elevation, much higher elevation than this. When I mean like up in the woods, I'm on the top of a mountain, and I found this old house, and there may have been posted signs, but we were kids, and I walked into this old house that looked remarkably like Evil Dead. In fact, I was an Evil Dead fan as a kid, so I think that was one of the reasons why I was so determined to go inside. I was probably 12 years old, 13, and I walk into this house. We had to go through the back. And what was interesting about this house was that a tree had fallen on it and essentially severed it in half. So the front of the house looked like an abandoned house, but the back of the house looked like an opened dollhouse. Like you could see the top floor, the middle floor, or the attic, the top floor, the bottom floor. It like did not have a backside. It looked like a dollhouse. So I entered in through the house, deep into the house, and it was getting darker and darker. It was so overgrown that all of the windows had been covered with trees and leaves and shrubbery. There was virtually no light, and I didn't have a flashlight. We were just kids wandering around. So I get to the front of this house, which was really the hardest place to get to. And, you know, I'll make the comparison to the Lizzie Borden, when I was in the Lizzie Borden basement. You know, I don't know if it's just a biological function of your body, or if it is some sort of sign of paranormal activity, but you definitely, when I was in the Lizzie Borden house, felt this cold draft or chill that just ran through your body. And usually when you get like the chills, you go, and they just kind of go away. But that didn't happen in the Lizzie Borden basement. Watch that video if you haven't seen it, to see, because I didn't stop rolling the camera, and you kind of really can see me go through that, lose complete concentration. But anyway, I was in this house, and I remember having somewhat of a similar feeling, and almost as if you're losing a little bit of focus and consciousness. And before I knew it, I was in the complete black. There was a bunch of noise, and I was in pain, and I just completely disappeared. Like, I couldn't see anything. I just felt and I heard a really loud noise. And luckily I had friends with me. And what had happened was I had literally fallen through the floor of the front of this house, through the floor, dropped like a sack of potatoes, right through the rotted out wood into the basement of this house. Now, luckily the basement was probably only about 5 feet tall, so it wasn't like I went tumbling, 8, 9, 10 feet and fell into blackness. I essentially fell into just a big pile of dirt, only about 4 or 5 feet underneath the floor. But let me tell you, I never really fully shook off that experience. But my point is, people doing these abandoned videos, putting themselves in those situations, if someone hurts or gets killed, like if I had gotten hurt in that house, whoever the poor person is who owns that house could have potentially gotten a lot of trouble if, let's say at the time, if my parents wanted to sue or something like that. So I will only do abandoned videos if I have full permission, clearance, written permission, and I have liability insurance, which doesn't cost a lot of money. It's really easy to get if you're a filmmaker. Actually, you can get covered for actually a couple $1,000,000 for only a couple $100. But yeah, so that was a pretty scary, traumatic experience. And about, I would say right before I started the Candle Enthusiast channel, I headed back up in that direction. I walked up that mountain, and I couldn't believe it, but I actually found that trail, because there was a trail leading to that house. It had overgrown, but I found it, and I found the house, but it was so buried in growth and trees and fallen down trees and shrubbery, and it was covered in like prickers and stuff. So even if I wanted to go inside, I wouldn't have, but even if I wanted to go inside, it would have been impossible. Gabe is saying, well, bye, guys. I got to get back to Walmart, and I'll be back with groceries and new mainstay candles and better homes and garden candles. All right. Go get those candles. Let's get a new shot going. Not every day you get these really optimal opportunities to get how was the Red Line Inn, says Nancy. Okay, so there's a great topic. Thanks for bringing that up. Red Line Inn, if anyone doesn't know, is a 250-year-old inn. That's right. It was around during the Revolutionary War, if you can believe this or not. And I've made a video. One of my earliest videos was like an hour-long video called The Norman Rockwell Experience. It was Norman Rockwell's hometown before he moved from Vermont, and where he spent the rest of his life. So the museum is there, and the Red Lion is there, which is a staple of the town. And everyone seems to love that video. I love that video. I mean, I can understand why I love it, because it was a truly organic vlogging experience. It wasn't so much a vlog as much as it was an edited home video, if that makes any sense. That Norman Rockwell video will always have a special place in my heart. So I went back last year to try to recreate this experience. And I failed miserably, because you have to realize, when it comes to vlogging or having a true, not scripted, but a true experience, like a moving experience, you can't fake it. You can't just summon it up whenever you want to. Sometimes you strike gold, and sometimes you get dirt, you get forest floor. And last year I laid down big money to get this beautiful room. It was a king suite, and it had 2 rooms, a bed, 2 TVs. It was fantastic. And what happened was, the magic did not happen. I had a beautiful room, but you know, what the video was missing was that excitement, that magic of me discovering the Red Lion Inn for the first time. So I filmed the best I could. I was extremely tired, and I kind of just finished the video with my tail between my legs, saying, what and how am I going to edit this video? And I'm sure a lot of you guys know this. Last year, a lot of my footage from Salem, from places throughout New England, not in Sturbridge, but around Sturbridge, but Salem, New Hampshire, and Stockbridge, and a little bit from South Deerfield, Massachusetts, a lot of footage on a hard drive that should have been backed up, that wasn't, which is the biggest amateurist mistake that you could possibly make. That hard drive went dead on me. So I literally lost hours and hours and hours of footage, and not that's not the worst of it. If you calculate all of the money I spent to do all the things that I did, and only to lose that footage, I not only lost the footage, but I lost so much of the money that I had raised to produce those videos. So this year, instead of just going there and having a repeat experience, I thought I would give the management of the Norman Rockwell Museum, of the Red Lion Inn, and say, hey, look, I made this video a couple of years ago, and I made it on a cell phone. I made it just like I'm making this right now. It was on my cell phone, and I said, but look at some of my most recent videos. I really think I could do we could do video collaborations. This is so bright. And so I had meetings with some folks at the Red Lion Inn and also at the Norman Rockwell Museum about future collaborations. And so Aunt Nancy, after about 5-10 minutes after he asked that question, things went really well. I pitched my heart out, and they were very responsive, everybody that I met with. And so it looks like we will be seeing Red Lion Inn content as soon as maybe the holiday season, but if not, early 2019. And what's really good about this is that we discussed ways. They know I work for cheap. They're not paying me, but they know that I produce my videos for a very modest cost because I'm a one-man show. But they've also, I proposed a couple ideas, they proposed a couple ideas of how they could keep my cost even lower. Maybe a free room here or there, complimentary room, discounted rates. Maybe if I, they could pledge some money towards the show. Again, it wouldn't be a sponsorship, but they could certainly pledge money, and it's essentially no strings attached. So I'm doing my best with the limited resources that I have, even though you guys are pledging tons and tons of hard-earned money and putting it and trusting it in my hands to produce these videos. Just know that I'm working very hard on my end to make sure that I'm keeping the cost of these videos as low as possible while trying to make them more exciting and pushing the envelope and trying not to repeat myself or making boring videos like that video would have been last year. Nancy, a new patron member, if you don't mind me saying so. Nancy, I need to get in contact with you. I really hope it is okay I said that. I usually don't do that. The recent live video from Yankee Candle, where the guy asked about the order he had placed about the skeleton. Yeah, it's the fun things what happens, when you're doing vlogs in public, or especially when you're doing a live vlog. Things like that happen. It was, an older gentleman who, I guess he ordered some kind of spooky village accessory from Yankee Candle Village for Halloween. And I don't know what the problem was, but he didn't get it. He didn't get it for one reason or another. Let's see some of the other questions here. Still one of the best videos ever. So funny. I became a subscriber after that video, says Nikki. I wish Shane found an abandoned chair in the woods and can do that. I don't even know what that is. Can I say that? Is that a word I can say? Goggins exercise? And Nikki, I want to get back to you. It's still the best video ever. So that was kind of one of the things I was telling them at the Red Line, that with, I'm moving up to 4K resolution next year, and I've done videos that have been far more challenging and had so much more production value. And yet still, that Norman Rockwell video seems to be a lot of people's favorite. And I've philosophized, I've had conversations with people that I truly admire. I've looked at it from so many different angles, and I've tried to understand, how can I recreate that kind of experience? What was it about that video that makes it so special? Now, some of you might be watch that video and be like, I don't get it. I don't get why people think it's so good. But even when I watch it, there's something very Christmassy about it. And I think it's because there was a narrative to that video of me going to that inn thinking I was gonna hate it, and there was a natural progression of seeing me fall in love with it. And although that's a very, 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 very typical storyline, plot line for a film or a television show or something, oh my good God, there are horses. I gotta flip the camera around. What is happening? Apparently, not only can you bring your dogs for a walk, but you can bring horsies. Are you kidding me? I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? That is a first. And one of those roosters are roosting. They're roosting, but they're... Anyway, so yeah, I've just been thinking about ways of being able to make those kinds of videos again. And I really want to go back to the Norman Rockwell Hotel, because there is a feeling you get when you go there, a sense of history, because it is 2.5 centuries old. I didn't want to mention it to the management, but there is, those of you who do like creepier old places, there's a little bit of that. But honestly, I never really felt uncomfortable or really overly creepy or creeped out being there. Maybe sometimes in the middle of the night, but really more than anything, it's just this quiet solitude. And when it's busy, it has a little buzz of excitement, and the place is just filled with aromatics because it's an old building, because of the fires, the flowers that are everywhere. They have 3 restaurants inside the inn itself, and they have a lot of different lodging experiences too. I've only ever stayed in the main building, but how about maybe one day we stay in the firehouse? That would be really fun. Let's see if you guys have any other questions. I wonder if there are any coyotes too. Thank you, Rachel, for putting that thought into my head. It is very nostalgic and gets me in the Christmas mood, along with great tummy workout from laughing so much. I'm glad you guys thought it so funny. And I'm glad I was rolling. I almost was not rolling on some of those moments that you guys thought was so funny. Future TCE meetup place, ? Says Rachel. Although this was just done, I think a great place for that, I don't know. You guys throw out suggestions. I mean, to me, Yankee Candle makes sense for several reasons. Everyone can spread out, can go shopping. It's not just about like, hey, how you doing? Goodbye. And then we get kicked out of wherever we meet up. But Yankee Candle, you can hang out all day. Lodging is very, very inexpensive no matter where you stay. You have Candle right there. So there's that. But also seeing, I'm not even kidding, if the management sees people meet up for this channel or the Candle Enthusiast, if they know people are meeting up for the Candle Enthusiast, it's just going to make the channel look really good. It's going to give it a lot of credibility. So again, I'm trying to massage those kinds of ideas, because I mean, what if there was like an exclusive Candle Enthusiast coupon for the Yankee Candle Village? What if the Red Line Inn offered a discount code for you know, maybe like 5% off your room or your dinner if you stayed. These are the kinds of ideas I'm trying to dream up, muster, to help these videos become more travel and tourism based. But I understand that New England is not accessible to everybody. New York City, although in theory might sound like a wonderful and easy place to meet up, that would just be impossible. Although how cool would it be is like if we like as a group got like an entire section, like an entire row of Radio City Music Hall Christmas Spectacular. We all met each other and we all saw the Christmas Spectacular right there at Radio City Music Hall. That'd be super fun. Shane's posse. I don't know about that. The sentiment is nice though. This is interesting. Morgan, Cruisebat. I like history too, not just haunted stuff. So exactly. Morgan, thank you for bringing this up. So when it comes to the Red Line Inn, there's other inns that I'm staying in. I just don't want to say them and promise things yet before they happen, because God forbid something falls through and then it feels like I'm lying to you. But there are several older inns that I'm staying in, and what's great is 2 of these inns are owned by the same company, so that's very helpful. You know, I'm essentially dealing with almost the same, you know, at least half of the same people to stay at 2 different inns, 2 completely different locations, and you're right. History is something, someone just watched, I don't think I've never chatted, or I don't even think they're subscribed to my channel, but someone watched my Fort William Henry Ghost Tour video last night and commented and said, "You're lucky you weren't arrested." And I told them, you know, politely, you know, I had permission to film there. I'm not a crazy vlogger who just trespasses. But you know, I also left in that comment because they were also very kind about it. I told them that, you know, I really do want to make more Lake George content, but to have it more history driven. I don't want it to be high school history that puts us to sleep, but you know, I think the reason why in high school and grade school, if you weren't a history buff, if you were like me and falling asleep, it's probably because you weren't getting enough sleep. And the teachers weren't storytellers. The teachers didn't really know how to tell these stories of history and to put you, like they're reading out of the text, but they didn't help put you into the environment and really help you see the history and understand its meaning and the emotional impact. So that's a large thing for me to accomplish, but it's something that I want this channel to focus on: history, as well as art of every kind. Is again, it's just one of the things that I always think about for the future. How can I push the envelope? How can I reach out to a larger audience who will see these? We can cover broader topics, and I think history is something that I think, for example, if we talked about the Revolutionary War in high school, maybe not high school, but like maybe middle school, it wasn't probably too exciting to people like me. Like I said, people who had a tough time paying attention in school. But, visiting locations of the Revolutionary War in New York State, or what was it? Was it called the French and Indian War? what was it called? The French and Indian War. I think that's what it was called, right? Which was a part of, you know, the classic story of Last of the Mohicans, and the actual real battles that happened in and around Lake George, New York. Sleepy Hollow, for example, right? The old Dutch church, and the book and the films and all the adaptations of Sleepy Hollow. The church was built prior to the Revolutionary War, so that, you know, being there, seeing it, experiencing it, helps you feel closer to it, and I want to do that. I want to do that for myself, and I want to introduce that to the channel. I hope I'm not going off too much. I am going off on a tangent, but there's so much history everywhere you go. Big history, world history, national history, but history everywhere. What was this little piece of land? Why was that stone wall built? This was a rail trail. Freight trains would pass up and down this hundreds of years ago. Not made hundreds, but over 100 years ago. Well over 100 years ago. What are the stories? What are some of the things that happened in these areas? These are the questions that I have floating around in my head. So, I do get off topic. I apologize. But I want to, I think it's a good time for me to get out of here, find a battle plan. But before we finish up for the Sunday, I do want to give a huge shout out. Last Sunday, I did a live on this channel, and I did a video where I talked about, again, where I stand in the candle industry, how I feel about burning candles, you know, kind of the negative experience I've had in the past couple months, but how I feel completely rejuvenized, and I'm ready to jump back into candles 120%, but also talked about the future of this channel and how I'm trying to push it further. You know, I don't want to just be doing candle evaluations. I want to really be making big leaps of every opportunity I can. And as soon as I posted that video, and then even afterwards, I received several pledges on patreon.com to help support the production and the future of this channel. Please, by no means, whenever I say this, please do not don't let it make it sound that I am asking you for money. Rather, if you have $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever you have at the end of the month that you would like to pledge to help these, not videos like this I can do for free. But yes, I had 2 meetings in Stockbridge, Massachusetts 2 days ago. And from those 2 meetings, I think we're going to get a lot of fun adventures, content, establish some really good relationships with both the Red Lion Inn and the Norman Rockwell Museum. And that's wonderful, but it costs money, right? Production cost money. I needed to meet them in person. I didn't want to have a phone conversation. And of course, we have so much stuff coming up down the road for Christmas. The more money we have at our disposal, the more adventures we can go on. But I also want you to also consider it's the future and of the show too. So when you don't see the money when you don't see your money being put to the use immediately, don't be afraid. Don't worry, because 2019, a lot of big things happening in 2019. A lot of changes for the better, a lot of exciting new directions. So I always have to plug at the end of the video, patreon.com/the Candle Enthusiast. But you can simply go to patreon.com and type in the Candle Enthusiast, read all the materials, not a lot to read. And if you'd like to make a pledge, however small or large you'd prefer. It would I'll forever be grateful, but please don't feel like you have to, especially if it doesn't fit your budget. Trust me, I know what this is like. I know what this is like. I've had to micro manage my daily budgetary spending as far as like coffee and stuff like that. That's the kind of situation I'm in. So I understand that at the end of the month, the last thing you want to be doing is giving money away. But if you have that $1, $2, or if you want to make a one-time donation, look in the description section of this video. You can simply send a little bit of money this way through PayPal directly without any monthly commitment. There's also an Amazon gift page, a wish list. So if you don't want to give money, but you would rather actually purchase a small gift that would help the channel, expendables, batteries, tape, stuff, you know, like that. There's things like that. There's also larger things if you're feeling a little bit more, if you have a little bit extra cash lying around and you really want to invest in the show. There's some larger things on the Amazon wish list. Hate to always end off on a financial note on these Smelt Sundays because I always have so much fun with you guys. Thank you for joining in on this Sunday. If I didn't answer any of your questions, I usually sometimes go back and rewatch and look at all of the questions you asked. Like Nancy right here, also historic Deerfield right down the road from Yankee Candle has ties to the French and Indian War. Exactly. These are things that we need to do, and I missed that comment. So if I missed your comment and you know it's good, please come back to this video at a later point when it's uploaded and leave it in the comment section. Just because I don't answer all the comments doesn't mean I don't read every single comment, because I do. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, any social media, even messages on Facebook. Even though I'm far, far behind, I always read everything. So please, if you have any suggestions, comments, or you want to send me a direct email, that's probably the hardest thing for me to get back to because I have so many emails, but I do read them. So everyone have a beautiful Sunday. Look at that sun and this beauty one more time. And here's wishing everyone a very festive holiday season. And I hope wherever it is, where you are, it's super comfy and cozy. If you're outside, I hope it's chilly and you're wearing a hoodie. If you're inside, I hope you're by a fire and you have a warm beverage in your hand. But for myself, I am heading back to the office to start editing, so you guys have some videos to watch this week. Thank you for joining in. It's always my pleasure. Am I worried about getting down this hill? I am. I have a feeling I'm gonna fall. But either way, it's been my pleasure. Have a great day, guys.